What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite for some breaking news for Black Ops 7 that nobody could have expected. Somebody needs to pinch me because I can't believe I'm actually making this video. But yes, they have finally listened for the first time in years. I want to argue that SBMM probably became more aggressive with Modern Warfare 19, but yes, it's always been around. For the first time in years, an actual change is being made to the matchmaking, which can not only set a precedent for what we could expect day one in Black Ops 7, November the 14th, but also a precedent for the entire Call of Duty franchise moving forward, which, like I said, is kind of opening up Pandora's box here, because now they've gone this far, they really can't go back. So, as Call of Duty confirmed, folks, live later today in the beta, this is day 3 of the beta, by the way, open mosh pit featuring classic matchmaking where skill is minimally considered. Who would have known? Now, obviously, grifters and rage baiters are going to use this as a way to say, okay, pre-orders were down, nobody cared about Black Ops 7, Activision was desperate. Look, I don't care what the reason was for doing this. This is the best possible news for the entire Call of Duty community. I don't care why they had to do it. I just care that it finally was done. I think looking at COD Next and even the marketing throughout the whole of this summer for Black Ops 7, everything that people have been asking for has effectively been announced or confirmed or shown in some way, but this was the last piece of the puzzle that, in my opinion, could set up a truly successful sequel to BO6, very big sequel to Black Ops 2, and could really set up one of the strongest Call of Duties, especially multiplayers, in years. As Treyarch then said, let's switch things up. Later today, we'll have 2 playlists in the Black Ops 7 beta, Mosh Pit, which we currently have live right now. It just has all of our game modes and playlists in one. Obviously, they gave a separate playlist for Overload because that's like the new Boots on the Ground uplink. But this is the regular playlist that's been live for the last couple of days since the beta started. But at some point later today, I'll record a separate gameplay when this drops. There's going to be an open mosh pit featuring classic matchmaking where skill is minimally considered, featuring TDM, kill confirmed, domination, hardpoint, and even Overload. Treyarch followed up by saying, like all things in beta, our collective goal is to gather critical in-game data and feedback to make Black Ops 7 the best experience possible. We'll continue testing throughout the remainder of the beta, so jump in and see what you think. They also dropped brand new patch notes, which we're going to jump into in a second, but let's just hope that this ends up being a permanent addition to Call of Duty, where they're like, hey, we're going to keep the algorithm we currently have, but we're also going to give players an option to jump into an open mosh pit, or better yet, they'll see a lot of success from the open mosh pit, and they'll just change the way the algorithm works altogether for the entire foundation of the multiplayer, which could also extend into Warzone's matchmaking eventually. That would be crazy. I mean, Black Ops 6 did a playlist where you can only queue in solo, and that playlist has been rotated in and out every now and again, but that's also an example of, okay, that's a good step forward. If they're not going to change the core fundamentals of SBMM, that's a step forward, as well as what MW3 did, which was saying, okay, we're going to give you guys a button when you finish a match to choose to stay in your lobby. We'll remove disbanding lobbies, essentially. That's a feature that showed up in Modern Warfare 3, but then disappeared after a while, with no mention as to why. So could this finally be a permanent step forward to address the matchmaking? That's what I could hope for. This is the last piece of the puzzle, folks. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. But as they wrote here on October the 4th, we have an exciting day 3 of the early access beta coming later today. I think usually the new day of a beta would start at like 12 Central, but we're already past that point, so we'll see what time this actually drops later today. So, matchmaking and open mosh pit. I just can't believe it. We're engaging with the community discussion about matchmaking, and we'll be making some updates to our playlist plans. Because I'm not kidding. I even put this out on my Twitter a few days ago. I was seeing less sweaty lobbies on LAN against the best players in the world, the pros. I mean, the beta's been fun. I've maxed out my current level. I've been having a blast recording B-roll, but the lobbies are so sweaty, dude. Like, I can't imagine how many players jump into the beta and see some of the sweats and are like, I'm just not going to buy the full game. Like, could they have lost sales because of that? For sure. I'm sure it's happened. So, of course, skill consideration is drastically reduced when matchmaking in the open mosh pit. The playlist will match players with and against players of more varied skill differences, and then these are all the maps and modes you'll see inside of this playlist to start. It sounds like an experimental playlist, but Modern Warfare 3 also did this well, where they introduced some experiments here and there, which either did or didn't make it into the permanent rotations later on. So if they want to do more experiments, that's fine. This is a step forward. I mean, who do we have to thank for this? Is it Treyarch? Is it higher-ups at Activision? Somebody got this done. Bravo to whoever it was. Like I've been saying, though, and as Treyarch confirmed recently, it really does seem like that's like an Activision decision. Demonware works on the servers. You have Team Ricochet working on the anti-cheat. You have a lot of different studios that work on different components of the game. Treyarch just develops the content, the maps, the modes. But hey, if it was them that pushed for this change the most out of any other studio, that's great. But I can guarantee you, every studio has probably been pushing for this for the longest time. They see what we're talking about online every single day. And when it comes to multiplayer, it's probably just the matchmaking. We will continue testing throughout the remainder of the beta, so jump in and see what you think. It's not going to guarantee that everybody out there gets guaranteed nukes every single match, but you'll be playing against, hopefully, some normal people. You'll be playing against people that aren't YY spamming, using TikTok movement strategies, people that aren't, stacked with 5 other people who usually play ranked play. You might actually get more decent games than not going forward. That's awesome. We recently confirmed that we're planning some additional perk changes for launch. With these updates, or while these updates won't be in the beta, we've heard your feedback and we'll be sharing more about them on the road to launch. We can confirm that we will be making reloading while wall jumping default behavior for launch. Now let's get into what's in today's update. That's a huge change. I know some folks want dexterity to just be, an integrated staple within the base movement, but this is at least a big step forward. To work with dexterity, that's cool. As far as weapon tuning goes, they've been closely following our feedback on weapons and time to kill. I know I went over patch notes in yesterday's video too, which were some pretty good patch notes, but they said today, our changes predominantly target the Dravik 45 and MA-A1. We currently see these weapons well ahead of the pack in our TTK data, and they also have very high usage, which means they are contributing heavily to combat pacing right now in the beta. The goal of the changes outlined below is to bring their average performance close to the other weapons currently available. Our intent with Black Ops 7 is for weapon TTK to sit in the same range as BO6. There are many factors that play into TTK beyond player health and weapon damage profiles, such as recoil, both actual and visual movement, average engagement distance, and more. Throughout the beta, we'll be assessing how all these factors are combining and contributing to general TTK. While we may make further adjustments during the beta, it will be crucial for us to consider the entire weapon portfolio for launch and any overarching TTK changes. Changes here for the Raiden, the Dravik, the M10 Breacher, lots of adjustments for each of these, the MA-A1, the VS Recon even. We got some improvements for the most part, but obviously a number of nerfs to make sure that the weapon library is fairly balanced. Oh my god. And then for doors, permanently open several doors throughout the Forge and Cortex. See the mini-maps below for specific callouts. Increase the time that automatic doors remain open before closing from 2 seconds to 4. Increase the range at which doors will open automatically when approaching. There you have it, folks. This is what a beta is for, truly. Addressing some of these fundamental features that could easily get adjusted before the launch of the game instead of waiting until Season 1 to see some changes. Increased visible range of the minimap by 15%. Increased allowable angle for side wall jump to reduce accidental forward wall jumps. Adjusted spawn logic for enemy player influence on nearby spawns. And then progression. Increased progression across the board for weapons and overclock earn rates for the skewer and the drone pod field upgrade. This also impacts zombies. Stability. Got some stability fixes for training course, turrets, overload, the Gravemaker score streak, the skewer streak, the vigilance perk, and then zombies as expected. Got some changes here. Resolved an issue that prevented the rampage inducer from affecting gameplay after round 55. Addressed a problem in the training course that could prevent players from reattempting training station 2. And then address stability issues related to toxic growth, exfils, leaving a match. And we got a known issue. Players are temporarily unable to complete the exfil step of the zombies training course with this update. But all right, folks, those are day 3 of the Black Ops 7 beta's patch notes. Those are huge. Crazy, crazy changes that literally nobody could have expected. Not sure what time the playlist Open Moshpit is going to go live, but I'm sure you'll see an update requires restart momentarily. This is just the biggest possible news we could have gotten. Seriously. We'll see how it impacts the full launch of the game. We'll see if people can really feel a difference with this playlist. But like I said, I generally can't think of anything else that could have been a bigger of an announcement. I think if this would have got announced at Next, it would have made that event even better. I think Next did its job, marketing various aspects and modes of the game, but this is the one thing that people have been asking for that I think should have been addressed a long time ago, but for whatever reason, it just couldn't. Studios had to wait, and it looks like now this could set a huge precedent for Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer. This is what's been missing, man. I mean, it's one thing to say that players are just getting better, because they are. People are just better at FPS games overall, but it's another thing to look at the algorithm and the fundamentals of the matchmaking and to say, hey, that's a little too rough, a little too strict, a little bit too close to like what you're going to be seeing in ranked playlists. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we could say it. Call of Duty is absolutely back, especially on the multiplayer front. Obviously, still waiting for a couple of tweaks in zombies, which are coming. Gotta wait a little bit longer for some bigger Warzone updates. I get it. But at least on the multiplayer front, the premium experience of every Call of Duty here, we're absolutely back. Leave all your thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.